Hello and welcome to Fiber Trek. My name is Sarah. Welcome. You are most welcome on this creative journey here in the North Woods of Maine. On this edition, I share a little glimpse into my winter vacation with family. I have finished the Bilbo vest by Thread and Yarn, and I share a little bit about my upcoming sewing projects. If you are a patron of this podcast or have donated through Ko-fi, a deep, heartfelt thank you for your financial contribution to the production of this project. I'm so glad that you're all here. Let's catch up.
Hey darling, can I tell you what's been on my mind? Sick and tired of the 9 to 5 in the city life. Hey darling, we could get out of town, see the beautiful world around, wanna see it now. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city, let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday, baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey, come on now and take my hand. Hey darling, I love it when it's me and you on the road with a couple of tunes in a car for two. Hey darling, you know we're gonna have a really good time, driving in the middle of the night when the stars are bright. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far.
Through the arbor, in the garden room, wings are beating, baby, me and you alone.
As you can see, I had a pretty busy week hosting my brother, my mom, my niece, and my nephew here for ice fishing and art adventures. Most of my time was spent in the kitchen baking up lots of goodies for them. They love to have Auntie Sarah bread when they come. Waffles. I made my brother his favorite tomato sausage risotto, and I also made a beef bourguignon. So needless to say, I didn't touch any projects while they were here, not even my knitting. I did, however, take full advantage of the Friday after they left and the Saturday and Sunday before I had to go back to school to finish up some projects and to make some plans and prepare for another. And most of these are around sewing. So on this episode, I'm just going to detail my finished Bilbo vest by Thread and Yarn and talk a little bit about the next sewing pattern that I'm going to attempt and hope that I have another win. So if you are a patron of this podcast or you donate through Ko-fi, a deep, heartfelt thank you. It's really important for me to reiterate that personally here for you all. I receive donations, and Patreon is of course a subscription platform. So the production costs associated with this project are, they greatly benefit from the financial contributions that come my way. So thank you so much. If you've left a comment, or you have subscribed or shared, or you are watching over on the blog site and have subscribed, a deep heartfelt thank you for that as well. Couldn't do it without you. I so appreciate the fact that we're all here on this creative journey together. While the knitting continues in the brown and the cream yarns, if you saw my last episode, I'm not going to go into detail about the 2 rows I put on my pagan sky, but I will talk about this wonderful finished vest. I started this out, and I talked about this project and my decisions about it on my last episode. And as you can see, I have gone ahead and finished it. I was just about finished with the hand stitching and hand quilting of the vest. I've added the binding, I've added the buttons and the button loops. So a couple things. One, for the button loops, because this was supposed to be a prototype for what I'm planning to do next, I just opted to do some leather lace button loops. They are a little tenuous, and I've reinforced them quite heavily on the sewing machine, and I'm considering just pulling this on and off over my head so as not to stress the leather too much. But I really like the overall effect of the leather with this particular piece. The buttons are some ceramic buttons I purchased online from a maker in Maine. And the binding is a 2-fold or double-fold bias binding I purchased from an Etsy seller because I just didn't feel like making my own, which I can do, but I was greatly appreciative to be able to finish quilting and waltz right into the binding. So I went ahead when I bound this and I sewed it on with the machine on the printed side, and then I folded it over and I hand stitched it down by hand. You know, it's the same as you would do for a quilt binding, and I'm really quite pleased with the result. So you really can't see it on either side. So this is technically reversible. I did not choose to put buttons on the blue side or the inside of this because I really like this printed piece. Again, for me, it was kind of a prototype for what I'm going to do. I can always add buttons if I so choose. You know, if I find that wearing this print doesn't really go with a number of my wardrobe staples, if you will. Speaking of wardrobe staples, many of you have asked about this particular shirt. This shirt I did not make. I picked it up from Duluth. It's a Duluth trading company. Can't remember now. And I've had it for a long time. And this and the Remy Raglan, which is the other shirt that I wear in that teal green turquoisey color, they're my 2 favorites, and I just interchange them out of the wash. So that's why you always see me in one of these shirts. This pattern, as I mentioned last time, is basic. I think it offers a canvas to do more with. It sits a little bit proud in the collar, which I kind of like because it feels really quite warm. But again, you could take this pattern and you can round the corners and do other creative shaping if you like. It's very cropped, sits very smart. The quilting keeps it crisp and structured. There is versions for not quilting it, so it has a little bit more drape to it. There's a side tie version, so there's lots of different ways to play around with this layering piece. Thread and yarn, the Bilbo vest, highly recommend. I will be making a second one. As I mentioned, this was the prototype to a thought that I had, really started by Kate of the Lost Homely House, which is one of my favorite vlogs out there on YouTube. I'm just thinking right now in my head, I'm like, but she is also on Patreon. She picked up a set of wool woven scraps, and she used it to make a curtain. And this gave me an idea that I would like to work with those fabrics and make a Bilbo vest, patchwork vest. So thank you, Kate, for enabling me with that fabric and resource. I will, if I can remember where I picked that up, I will list it below. It was a shop in the UK. So anyway, yeah, so I have these beautiful wools and I want to make a patchwork Bilbo vest. I have some beautiful Adabrock weaving hand woven yardage that I picked up at my last Edinburgh Yarn Festival. I used that to make a bag, pieces of that, and I think that it would make a really beautiful reverse side for the Bilbo vest. I'm not sure if I'll quilt it. So there will be some consternation about structure and construction and how I want to go about dealing with the thickness of the fabric. You know, I had thought about interfacing the wools to create more stability, but if I end up hand stitching it, I don't really want to deal with that extra layer. I might just take an old flannel sheet and use that as a liner so it's not quite as poofy and structured as this quilting batting. This is just a regular 100% cotton mid-loft quilting batting. So there are some decisions to be made. Obviously there's the layout of the wools, and that will be the fun part. And then maybe deciding on the size of the square. So that's really my next project. I'm really excited about it. This was a great win. It was super invigorating. And again, like I said, once I got past ripping out my original quilting design, it was just magical. So yeah, so that's forthcoming in the wool patchwork. And I actually have some other ideas for some bigger pieces of scrap fabric, which I think might be fun to make one out of. Yeah, so I could see really filling my wardrobe with these. So this win led to some ideas about, well, what could I pair this with in my wardrobe? And as you know, I have been kind of about sewing. I have some bigger complicated pieces that I'd like to do, but I just can't really bring myself to embark on the journey because I am worried about the disappointment of my skill and the laboriousness with which I would need to do the process, blah, blah, blah. So I have decided to do a pattern I picked up a while ago. It's rated as easy. It is a McCall's. This is McCall's 7969. It was really quite popular. It was one of their best-selling patterns. It is a raglan on pure waist, minimal shaping, drapey dress. And it reminded me of the Remy raglan. That also has an expansion pack or another pattern, which is the raglan shirt, but extended into a dress that has gathers at the waist. So I had purchased this and talked amongst some friends, looked at the pieces, watched a couple videos on it, and decided that's it. That'll be perfect. I'm making the non-ruffled sleeves. I'm making the more balloon-shaped sleeves, and I'm making the maxi length. And I'm making it in a kind of heavier weight, like rusty red linen, which I think will look really pretty with this. So that is on the go. I went ahead. I don't typically cut my patterns up. Usually I will trace it onto freezer paper and cut that out, then trace it onto the fabric, etc. But I felt like maybe for me at this point in my sewing career, I really needed the original pattern piece to see those exact lines, not be guessing the gentle curves for sizing, etc. So I went ahead and I cut out the large, and I am going to pin that and cut it out right on the fabric. I'm not going to trace it, I don't think. So there's still some decisions about that step. But I feel like I've gone ahead, I've cut my pattern. It doesn't seem overly dramatic or intensive, the number of pieces. And that's the story with cutting out the pattern. Like I said, I have never done that. I've always traced, but I figured I can get another copy if I need to. So I have some wiggle room there if I want to reshape it. And yeah, we'll give it a try and see what happens. So that is McCall's 79.69, and I think it might be the Tracy dress. I could be wrong. I'm making that up. I'm not sure. Bilbo vest, the McCall's dress in linen. I went through my fabric supply, my fabric stash, and I tried to make some decisions about what else I have that might work with some other patterns, and but ultimately I just pared it down. I said, nope, I'm just gonna work on this. If I really like this dress, I have enough to make another one in like a really pretty denim lightweight blue, and I have a really gorgeous seersucker, which is in like these turquoise oranges and big floral blooms, which I think might be really pretty to take to Italy. So that's where the sewing stands. That's really the highlight for the end of the week. I told you that the episodes would be expedited, so they are a little bit shorter perhaps. I take heart, I continue to knit. I'm sure I will have more to share with you the next time we're together. I am going to be hanging out at Spa in Freeport at the Harrisika Inn with my friend Patricia this upcoming weekend, which is the 28th first. And I will be there on Friday night and Saturday, and potentially on Sunday, just milling around, taking some footage, and maybe I'll get some knitting done. That would be great. So you can find me there. And then it's March, and I am back up here hopefully every weekend, barring weather and storms. And then I am on to Zurich, Switzerland, and then on to Italy. I will be in Siena and Rome with my college friend, my dear college friend, and my friend Sophia Carlson of Sophia's Tales, and my mother. So there's lots of adventures forthcoming. There's lots to do here in the studio in the month of March, and we'll be heading into sugaring season, so Rob will be very busy. So starting to feel that momentum of spring, and it feels really good. I hope that this finds you well. Many fond wishes and blessings to you. I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. Bye.